Marcus Mariota's night at that point. And what happened? Well, unfortunately, he turned back into Marcus Mariota, and he threw it just a little behind the receiver, if we could see this, just a little behind.
He lucky Chris Harris Jr. didn't run this one all the way back.
Well, guess who got him? The guy who runs like 4.4, which is Mariota. It's just a little.
Skip, that's that one. I got to catch him. I threw the pick. I cannot let this man run 56 in the game.
It was a little bit unlucky because Zay Jones got a hand on it and just tipped it right up in the air.
Because it looked like Zay Jones thinking it was zone, and Mariota.
He did.
Well, Zay Jones thought it was man because he kept going.
He kept going.
Right.
And it's just one of those unfortunate plays. And all of a sudden, Chris Jones is off to the races, and Mariota said, "Not on my watch," and tracked him down because he can fly now.
Yes.
I think he might even be closer to 4.3. He's a serious speed.
Yeah, but Skip, I thought the thing was, I thought he would have success because in your preparation all week, you never prepare for the backup. If you notice, John Gruden ran some plays, the zone read. He ain't running no zone read with Derek Carr. Because that's not what Derek Carr forte is. But I will give Mariota credit. He did throw the ball better than I've seen him throw it in a very long time.
Totally agree.
And so with that being said, it seems to me that you're hinting at that they might be willing to move forward.
Well, it would be a lot easier to move forward if you had closed the deal.
Right.
If he takes it home right there, and they win the football game, all of a sudden the Raiders are 8-6 instead of 7-7, and you still have more than a long shot playoff hope. You have a real playoff hope. And next week, I believe it's going to be Marcus Mariota. And if Gruden had his way, I believe he would have his quarterback of the future in Las Vegas.
Well, I believe it's Marcus Mariota because I don't know the groin injury, and you got to be careful with those. Those don't heal up overnight, kind of like hamstrings. Unfortunately, somehow the Giants think their medical staff can heal a hamstring in a week. But groin and hamstring, they are tough to deal with, Skip. But Mario, look, the only thing I remember, Skip, I remember the last time I saw Marcus Mariota start, I happened to be in Denver that weekend. I was watching that game, but I was also keeping my eye on another game that happened to be going on in New York. So, you know, my loyalties were split.
Did he stink it up that day? I don't recall.
He stunk it up. Tannehill came. Skip, he might have had 15 yards passing. Tannehill came into the ball game. They were shut out. They didn't even score. Tannehill came in that day, got him to the playoffs, and here we are today. He's still starting currently. So I just want you to be careful, Skip. Looking at Mariota when nobody had a game plan for him coming into the game, as opposed to next week and moving forward, building a game plan to stop him.
I just know how hard it is to play quarterback for John Gruden, who's just like Jim Harbaugh. He is so incredibly sarcastically, demeaningly demanding a quarterback that he can just tear your psyche apart and shred it.
Especially a young quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. But somehow he's got an affection for Mariota because he liked him before the draft. So I think he would prop him up better. And I think he'd have more success going forward with Mariota, legs and arm. So what happened? Beginning of overtime, they win the toss. And I'm thinking, it's their night. And here goes Mariota. He goes 70 yards in 14 plays. That's pretty good, 70 yards in 14 plays.
They just had, a 19-play one of the longest drives in 13 years for them.
They get it down to 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. And Gruden's thinking, I'm going to just run this right down their throats. I got 3 good cracks at this, and I got a running back who will run through a brick wall, Josh Jacobs. And he tries the first time, and he gets a yard. Okay, let's try it again. And he slips and falls, and it's -2. Now what are you going to do? So he puts Ingold, the fullback, in the game. It sort of offsets him from the shotgun and tries a little tricky play where Ingold just bolts into the flat because he can catch
like he's going to block in there.
And hopes that he can beat the linebacker, or if it's the D end, outside, and that Rochelle, the defensive end for the Chargers, he just plays it beautifully and jumps all over the route and extends and gets a hand on the ball.
And even if Ingold, Skip, I'm not so sure he gets in, even if the guy doesn't knock it down, because 59 is right there. And it seems like the fullback is sliding.
It looked covered.
Yes.
It looked like it was doomed from the start. I would agree. And then John did something that surprised me. So now it's 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. I know 5 yards, that ain't close. It's hard to get 5. I would have gone for it because Mariota was 4 for 4 on 4th down. He had a hot hand. We had a little Mariota magic going. I go for it because I don't trust my defense against Justin Herbert going the other direction.
And it would have been rightfully deserved at that point in time.
And if you miss on 4th and goal from the 5. At least you stick them at the 5, and instead he took it was just 22-yard chip shot field goal, and you know the rest of the story.
Right.
Ball game the other way pretty quickly. He got a big pass interference call. You know, again, same
27.
Yep.
He had 4 in the games. Come on now, you can't have. Look,
on him.
You cannot have that many pass interference. You might need to change position. You might need to move to safety.
On Mullen, yeah,
yes.
They're just picking on him all night. But they're decimated in their back end. They just don't have anybody that they started the year with.
Right.
Okay, so in the end, John Gruden takes another L to fall to 7-7. So what has he done so far as the head coach, making $10 million a year? 4-12, 7-9. Now he's 7-7. Can they win one of the last couple? They got Miami at home. I don't know, toss up, and then they go to Denver. Probably a toss up. But could they get one more victory? Could they get to 8-8? You know, sure. I think they could get to 8-8.
Miami,
that would show some progress.
Miami's not going to be no either. But
No.
for $10 million, Skip, you need playoffs.
Well,
That's what I mean. They gave the man 10 years, $100 million. And I'm not talking about no progress. No, progress happened. I need you to keep building. I need it by the 3rd year, Skip. I got to be in the playoffs. It's kind of like a player you draft in the 1st round, especially a quarterback, and you draft him high. You can't say, well, year 4, we getting close. At some point, by the 3rd year, they say a 1st-round pick should be a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro player by the end of his 3rd year if he's what you believed he was when you drafted him that high. Well, if you give a guy $10 million, he's clearly the highest pick other than Coach Belichick. Now, we don't know Coach Belichick. Those terms have never been released, but we know Coach Belichick is the highest paid coach because he also, well, John Gruden also cooks the grocery, also shops and does all that other stuff. Valet parks the cars and everything. But with that being said, it's been a huge disappointment for the Las Vegas Raiders, for the Oakland Raiders, and you know this, Skip. I've been covering the game. Equipment managers does not play jokes on head coaches because that'll get your butt fired. You don't play. They might play jokes on players. They do it all the time. Yes, they do things like that, but not the head coach. That guy's not to be monked with. So for him to say somebody playing a joke, nah, John, you did that, and just own it. Just like you had the bus driver drive around Arrowhead.
He did.
It wasn't no smart alecky. You had him do that. Just own it.
I agree with that. But do you have a big problem with him coming out in an Oakland Raiders hat?
No, but I think the NFL does.
Maybe. But you know what? In the hearts of fans around this country,
they always be Oakland Raiders.
They're just Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the Raiders, but it didn't offend me. He came out. He could wear it the whole game.
Even when they came to L.A., Skip, they're still the Oakland Raiders. They're always good. There were always going to be, no matter where you go, it's always going to be the Oakland Raiders. And the true fans, the Raider fans, that's what they are. But let me ask you this. Moving forward, Baker Mayfield or Justin Herbert? Which one you want, Skip?
I'll take Baker Mayfield.
No.
Winner.
I'm going to let you have old Shaggy Baker. I'm about to go with old Justin.
Well, old Justin's 5-9 this year. I know he's a rookie, but he's 5-9.
What was Baker his rookie year?
He started winning games.
No, I want to know what his record was.
He beat the Ravens. Remember, he beat the Ravens in Cleveland?
Yes. Yeah. So you're going to take the man. Hold on. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they get Myles Garrett? Was Myles Garrett before or after Baker? He was before Baker. He was before Baker.
Yeah.
But then they ended up getting a high draft pick, Denzel Ward, right? Denzel Ward pretty high. So yeah. So
I'll take Baker. No, take him right now. No. They're on a roll. They're 9-3. They're about to be 10-3.
Did he close the deal like you tell me? Did he close the deal Monday night? You like guys that close the deal. You just told me you wanted him to close the deal.
It was as miraculous a finish as I've ever seen in a pro football game. Lamar coming, quote unquote, back from the dead to win the game. Would you least expect it on 4th and 5? Okay. Did Baker do enough to close the deal? Yes, he did.
He didn't do enough.
Yes.
You got to close it.
I like Baker. I'll take him.
I mean, I like Baker too.
Intangible.
But Skip, that kid there. That kid might have more 300-yard games in his rookie season than Baker had for a career.
Yeah, he's been doing it in the shadows. Nobody expected anything from him, and now you're hyping him, and now the expectations will rise with your hype. Let's see how he handles the expectations.
Skip, I went to this nice restaurant. The food good. I'm telling you about it. That's all I'm doing. It's not like I'm lying. I ain't lying about the kid. I ain't gassing him up and he's not legit.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Sharpe has a new bandwagon. It is the Justin Herbert bandwagon.
I'll jump on that bandwagon. Bottom line, they both looked like the real deal last night, both Justin and Marcus. But we're moving on because will James Harden be on a new team opening night? That's next.